What's going on, Dolphins fans? It is your boy Dillon, and day 2 of the draft just ended literally minutes ago. It ended up being over 5 hours worth of content because, man, were there a ton of commercials, and these motherfuckers literally did like super in-depth analysis with tons of highlights for every single prospect. It was a little bit drudging and, you know, whatever. So it is what it is. Production wise, give them a little slack. It was their first, you know, virtual draft, whatever. But the Dolphins had 3 picks. It was day 2, and there's a lot to get to, right? So we had 2 picks in round 2, and we had 1 pick in round 3. Real quick, just to recap, yesterday was round 1. We took Tua Tagovailoa at pick number 5. We took Austin Jackson at pick number 18, and then we traded back to pick number 30 and took cornerback Noah Igbinoghene. I think that's right. Anyway, so we took him, and then like I said, today we got a offensive tackle. We took a defensive tackle and a safety. Just real quick also too, just to recap and let you guys know, or for anyone who's new, I do not play into the quarterback philosophy that most people do. I think it's a team sport, 11 players. I don't think you have to have the greatest of all time to be successful, etc., etc. The vast majority of first-round quarterbacks end up being busts or just average or backups, blah, blah, blah. You can get quarterbacks that are franchise guys, what have you, in the later rounds, like Tom Brady, one of the greatest of all time, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, etc., so on and so forth. So I would never take a quarterback in rounds 1 or 2. I would take one every year in round 3 or later, depending on exactly how much we need it, right? So I would not have taken Tua, one, in part because of his, you know, incredible and lengthy injury history, but also because of that philosophy that I have. But if I was going to take a quarterback in round 1, now, so I say that in part to say that I would have done things very differently than they have done, especially when you look at how the board fell. Because if it was me, I would have instead taken, and this is going to be based off of if I would have taken a quarterback in round 1, right? So my normal philosophy is 3 or later. But if you want to take one of the top quarterbacks, right, they could have gotten the 2 top offensive linemen in the draft. They could have gotten Tristan Wirfs and Andrew Thomas. They could have got both those guys based off of how the board fell with their first 2 picks, or, you know, maybe if they had to trade up a couple spots. Then they could have gotten Jordan Love, one of the top 5 quarterbacks, at number 26 or at 30, where they ended up trading back to, because he would have been available at least at 26 based off of where the Packers moved up to get him. Then they could have taken the best safety in the draft, Xavier McKinney, at a position that you really need help at, one of the weakest areas on the team. You could have gotten the best safety in the draft. Then they could have gotten one of the top 3 running backs, either at, you know, pick number 56th overall, our second round pick, or if they had to trade up maybe just a couple spots to get him, they could have gotten J.K. Dobbins. They could have gotten DeAndre Swift or Jonathan Taylor or Cam Akers. They passed on all those guys, passed on Xavier McKinney, passed on Grant Delpit. But then they decided to double down on positions that they didn't need to. Like, for example, cornerback. The guy that they picked, the last first round pick that they had, the 3rd first round pick, Noah Igbinoghene or whatever, you know, I mean, there's a lot of upside to him for sure. But we have 2 out of the top 3 highest paid corners on the roster. And he seems to be, from what I can tell by reports to this point, to be kind of a carbon copy of Byron Jones. He's damn good in press man coverage, which I would guess is why the Dolphins want him, and I understand that. But he's not particularly great at turnovers. So why would you do that when you could get one of the top safeties, a position that and round out your entire secondary instead of doubling down? Defensive tackle. We could have used a pass rusher instead, but they decided to go defensive tackle when they just took Christian Wilkins last year. Now, to be fair, I guess they consider the guys on the roster more 3-4 defensive ends or whatever, but so is apparently the guy that they took this year. Although some are saying that he could be a big nose tackle in the middle, and I guess I can understand that. But we need a pass rusher. We have like almost really no pass rushers on the team. And so the need there is greater. Or they could have gotten one of the better offensive linemen. They passed on Josh Jones too. So I personally would have done things way, way different. But having said that, I mean, you know, I am still, even though I wouldn't take Tua and I don't like the quarterback early on philosophy, it is still exciting, and I do hope that they prove me wrong, and I hope that they do get this right, and I hope that, you know, their decisions are correct and we get back to prominence. And I would love that, and it would be exciting to watch Tua and these guys that they brought in, etc. I'm not convinced yet, but they have an opportunity to prove me wrong, and I hope that they do. For me this season, it's all about hashtag prove it. It's all about, they need to prove it, man, because at the end of the day, and this will be like, you know, the final thing that I say before I get into these scouting reports, is that, look, man, this year is boom or bust. The Dolphins are the epitome of boom or bust. There's a ton of boom potential, right? They just completely overhauled their entire roster, really, but the defense in the offseason, I believe, overpaying some of these guys, most of these guys that they brought in, but they overhauled it. They brought in Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Shaq Lawson, you know, what have you, Emmanuel Ogbah, right? All of these guys, they brought in all these guys, and they brought in, you know, Ted Karras, the center. They brought in Eric Flowers, who I think is also overpaid, but they brought him in. Jordan Howard. Then they get their quarterback, supposedly of the future. Although a theme in this draft seems to be a lot of guys that have injury histories, including Tua. And also a lot of the analysts seem to think that some of these guys that they picked, like the cornerback, was a reach. The defensive tackle that they picked, the safety that they picked. A lot of people seem to think that they're reaching for some of these players, and I understand that from some of the concerns that are there. But anyway, look, I mean, it's boom or bust, right? There's tons of boom potential, right? If they get it right, if these picks are right, and if they perform to the level that they want and expect, etc., especially for the contracts that these free agents got and the draft status of some of these players, you know, then it's awesome. And, you know, that would be wonderful, right? And that certainly exists. It is possible that that could be the end result. However, there's also a massive bust potential, right? And unfortunately, I'm not sure that there's really much of a middle ground. I think it's probably going to be one way or the other. Now, I can't say for certain, and they could just end up falling back into, you know, perpetual mediocrity, I suppose, and that would be a middle ground. But to some degree, I mean, as opposed, you know, as just in the perspective of, you know, if you're not, you know, winless, that's good. Right? But I mean, if you're at least, you know, in the middle of the league, you're average and stuff, whatever. Anyway, I suppose that's sort of a middle ground. But look, you know, there's tons of expectations, and with everything that they did, the pressure is going to be there, man. So it's going to be curious to see if they decide to redshirt Tua, especially with, you know, I'm guessing that they're going to feel he's healthy enough and that they've addressed the offensive line adequately. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, man. But they have to get it right. They have to prove it, and they have to get it right, because if they don't get it right this year, then I'm not sure that this regime is going to last past the 3.5 year mark when Stephen Ross generally gets, you know, impatient. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's draft and the 3 guys that they brought in. The first guy that they drafted was, it says here, offensive guard Robert Hunt from Louisiana Lafayette, although I'm pretty sure he's slated or expected, projected to fill in at the right tackle position. And so as it looks right now, the way I see it is we can likely expect Austin Jackson to be the left tackle, Eric Flowers to be the left guard with Ted Karras as the center. Jesse Davis will probably slide back in as the right guard with Robert Hunt coming in. He's a big man at the right tackle position. This position, though, this pick is going to be massively important if that's the case, because that means he will, especially if Tua goes in, because then he will be Tua's blind side. He will be the guy that needs to make sure that he doesn't just, you know, get smoked out of nowhere. But let's get into this. So strengths: 4-year starter from the Ragin' Cajuns who played both guard and tackle, offers tremendous positional flexibility and could slide into an established offensive line with ease. He's not going to be sliding into an established offensive line, though. Let's take note of that. They are far from established, so that could end up being a weakness in this context based off of this, right? So his flexibility is good. That's not the weakness. But what he's saying is, what this writer is saying is that he's polished enough to slide into an established offensive line with ease. That's not going to be the case for the Dolphins. They are going to have growing pains, to be sure. But anyway, looks for a finish on every play and relishes the opportunity to put a man in the dirt. Dominates in the fourth corner after physically beating up his opponent. So that's good, and that definitely is something that we desperately need on the offensive line. Thick body prospect who carries the weight exceptionally well and has no trouble in space, can fit into any scheme immediately. That does seem to mirror some of the potential upsides for Austin Jackson. They both, some of their upsides seem to be that they are capable of like getting to the second level, which could tremendously help our run game. So hopefully that's the case. Has a junkyard dog mentality and concrete blocks for hands. A fighter and pass protection who will lay body blows routinely. Has a better snatch and trap move and pass protection than majority of NFL linemen, able to remain balanced with efficient hands while manipulating defenders. Undeniable power throughout his entire frame, comfortable relying on it to uproot defenders at the line of scrimmage or sit back in his hips and anchor in the run game. It doesn't sound like there are really going to be any downsides to this guy so far, but let's continue. Quick sets with ease and has the lateral agility to mirror at the line of scrimmage with defenders. Moving inside to guard could accentuate the best parts of his game in pass protection. So he could be, so what it sounds like to me is they're saying that he is a guard that is capable of pulling and getting to the second level. But he is a really big man and would potentially also bode well at tackle, but that is it's an island out there, especially if he's going to be you know, the blind side blocker. Weaknesses: turns 24 in late August and may be seen as maxed out with regard to physical and technical maturation. So in other words, they're saying that he might be at his ceiling, which is troublesome because if he doesn't have a lot of room to grow, then he may end up struggling pretty immensely with the level of talent in the NFL. So we'll see how that goes. Groin injury ended his season with 7 games remaining and required off-season surgery. So like I said, this tends to be something that pops up a lot with these guys, is injury history. Had a tendency to start clicking his heels late in games versus weak competition as a pass protector. Nasty habits like that will get exposed versus better talent in the NFL. Often throws his hands like he's unrolling a carpet and has a tendency to start low and roll them upward, landing wide and outside the ideal strike point. Slows his punch down and telegraphs it early. These could be devastating if he doesn't clean those up in you know, the pros. Doesn't have ideal vertical sets as a tackle. Could play there in a pinch, but would struggle versus every down speed rushers that threaten his edge. So maybe he doesn't play as a tackle, because especially on Tua's blind side. Pad level and pass production became inconsistent late in games, paired with average length at best, 33.5-inch arms. Long arm defenders will get inside his frame and play with his balance. Drops his eyes into opponents too often and will be susceptible to some arm over moves and quick swipes in the NFL. Overall, Hunt's biggest weakness might be that his opponents were weaker than he was. He's been able to dominate the majority of his opponents, which allowed him to get away with some lazy habits that look more like a player who is bored and less like true deficiencies. If any prospect can fix his flaws the fastest, Hunt might be the guy, and he's going to need to. He offers top tier power in every phase, but he pairs that power with plenty of athleticism. He'll kick inside to guard in the NFL, where his vertical sets won't be quite as challenged, and he can continue to be a road grader in the run game. So maybe he does end up projecting as a guard. If that's the case, then maybe he might end up being right guard and Jesse Davis stay out at right tackle. But that is a bit worrisome too, because Jesse Davis wasn't particularly great at right tackle, and somebody's got to play it. And so now you have two guys that look like they're going to be solid at guard, because I think Davis performed well at guard, but are not going to be particularly great tackles. His pro comparisons are David DeCastro and Pat Elflein, so not bad at all for sure. So hopefully, I mean, if he can live up to that potential, then he would certainly turn out to be a good pick. Next, we had defensive lineman Raekwon Davis. He is a defensive tackle, Alabama. His strengths are ideal size for the NFL at 6'6" and 311 pounds. And that's part of why I say he could be potentially a nose tackle. Some of the position fits, though, from the supposed experts or analysts, whatever, were saying that he'd be a 3-4 defensive end. You know, that's part of, I mean, if that's the case, I don't know, you know, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Again, as usual and as always, we'll have to see how it plays out, but he certainly could be an intriguing piece as a nose tackle in a 3-4 front. 3-year starter at Alabama, played in many different roles in fronts, settles well just beyond the line of scrimmage and reacts to running backs' movements, enough quickness to chase down running backs at the line of scrimmage, which would be certainly great because our run game was atrocious on both sides of the ball, as we know. Able to play low and use his leverage to manhandle and disengage blockers, maintains his spot, and isn't easily moved. Combination of power and finesse moves to keep linemen guessing how he will beat them. Let's note, though, these analyses are done for college players who play against college players, right? So one of the big questions for every prospect is how are they going to translate to that into the NFL when they have, you know, much tougher competition. And so let's get into his weaknesses. Feet stop driving too often, absorbs a lot of blocks. That's not going to be particularly good on the, you know, NFL level, but, you know, maybe he can polish that up and fix it, right? Limited production as a pass rusher, had only 2 combined sacks as a junior and senior after 8.5 as a sophomore. So, I mean, we definitely could use a defensive tackle that can push the inside of an offensive line a bit. So if he can develop into that, that would be great. He doesn't have to be a super stud at rushing the passer, but if he can, you know, pop a sack in there every now and again and at least collapse the pocket and stop the run game, then that's what we need. Needs to develop more of a pass rushing toolbox, has a good swim move, but that's about it. Overall, an ideal 3-4 defensive end, and so this is one of the you know, analysts that says this. Davis has the size and enough athleticism to be a better pass rusher in the NFL than he was allowed to be in the Alabama scheme. He also does come from Alabama, which is a, you know, great school, great program, and particularly when it comes to defensive players, so he does have that as well. Although they do also tend to play with a ton of really good players as well, so that's a factor to be taken into account. He doesn't have the highest ceiling of this year's defensive line prospects, but he's game ready for now and should see major rookie snaps. So it looks like a couple of these guys, the first 2 guys that they took today, might already even be at their ceilings, which could be problematic. Pro comparison, Eric Armstead or Daron Payne. I mean, again, you know, if he could live up to those comparisons, not bad at all. I would be happy with that. All right, and then the final pick, the one that we had in round 3, was a safety, as I mentioned before, and it was safety Brandon Jones out of Texas. Look, I mean, again, I would have done things differently. They could have gotten, you know, Xavier McKinney, the top safety in the draft, but it is what it is. Strengths, 4-year contributor at Texas who played everywhere from special teams to strong safety to lining up a ton in slot coverage during his senior season. Explosive, athletic safety who can play anywhere in an NFL secondary. Good, reliable, powerful tackler who made his name on special teams as a gunner. And so all of that will certainly be very, very useful for this team. He just has to be able to translate that and, you know, put it on the field and produce on this level. Showed his coverage chops in 2019 was when asked to lock up in man coverage while playing from the nickel position. Also good. Intriguing height, weight, speed player who has coverage skills to make an immediate NFL impact as a cornerback, safety, or nickel defender. And so hopefully he does live up to that. Let's see. Weaknesses: missed the Senior Bowl and NFL Scouting Combine because of injuries. Missing those things is not necessarily a big deal, but because of injuries. So again, guys that tend to, and because look, you know, maybe these guys live up to their potential on the field, like, you know, in the first couple years or whatever. But then what if they start getting injured all the time and then end up being busts because of that? I mean, so if you get guys with injury histories, and all of the guys that they took today on day 2 have injury histories. Tua has significant injury histories. So, I mean, it's like they're trying to overcompensate for the fact that they passed on Drew Brees, even though that is way different context, way different rules in the NFL, different players, different injury histories, so many different factors that almost make it irrelevant. You know, they're like trying to overcompensate by taking, you know, flyers on a ton of guys that have injury histories. But we'll see how it plays out. Doesn't have a natural position and may be in for a long developmental process. Again, that seems to be a, you know, common thread with these guys, is that they may take a while to develop, which is not going to bode well for this regime if they hope to stay the regime of the Dolphins past the next few years. Lacks an elite trait that you fall in love with. Also not particularly great. Bounced off runners as a tackler and doesn't always have natural wrap-up skills. That is something for sure that could be, you know, taught, and he could get better at, and technique could help with, and so on and so forth. So that's not too the worst thing on there, but certainly could be a problem. Overall, Jones is an exciting prospect from an athletic standpoint, but he needs time to develop once he finds a home at one position. Texas moved him all over the defense, which may have been to his detriment. Jones' injury in the pre-draft circuit also didn't help, with no pro days or workouts, but we like his chances to eventually break into a safety rotation. Well, in our situation, he's probably going to end up being thrust into that role at safety, considering we have almost nobody. As of right now, our top 2 safeties are him and Clayton Fejedelem. I mean, I guess you could say Walt Aikens as well, but like that's pretty much it. Or I guess maybe Eric Rowe. But he's likely going to see playing time, especially being, you know, a 3rd round pick. His pro comparisons, though, are Devin McCourty, so that's a good one. Jesse Bates. All right. I mean, if he could live up to that, then, again, I'll take it. But they have to live up to it. They have to stay healthy. They have to be on the field. They have to be available. And then they have to live up to the hope and the potential, etc. So we'll see how it goes, man. I'm definitely excited. I'm looking forward to it, even though I'm not particularly convinced that it's going to work out to the hopes and dreams that we are wanting and that seem to be the expectation for this team at this point. But again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they prove me wrong, and I would love to see it. And if they do, man, it's going to be wonderful. And look, I would love to be able to, you know, go buy a Tua jersey one day, because I really do feel like he's going to be the face of the franchise or whatever, the quarterback of the future for the next decade. And some of these other guys as well, right? So let's do it, man. And hopefully it all goes well. Alright, so before I get out of here, just to let you know, I am going to do, again, a live stream tomorrow for the final day of the draft, rounds 4 through 7. Hopefully they get through it a little bit quicker and don't fucking pussyfoot around and just fucking, you know, do super length 60-minute biographies on every prospect. We'll see. Also, it does appear as if there were some interviews with like players at the very least, and so check out for that at the end of the video. From now on, I will be doing more of that. I did get the software to be able to get the videos for you, and so I will be adding those into my videos as well from now on, as I used to do. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I know a lot of my subscribers did enjoy that, so I hope you guys enjoy that again. So you have all of the press conferences and interviews in one place, and you can see them for yourself. Alright guys, with that, I'm gonna get up out of here, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow for my next live stream. With that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy my videos and perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
Robert, first of all, congratulations. Your reaction to being a Miami Dolphin?
I was gonna say, you know, thank you for saying that, but I'm just super blessed. I guess I'm super excited. You know, I'm blessed. This is a great opportunity. I thank Coach Flores and his whole staff, and you know, I'm super excited to get down to Miami and get to work.
Next up, Omar Kelly.
Robert, what do you think the traits that you bring to the game of football that will help you excel in the NFL?
You know, I think I play the game hard. I try to strain, you know, and I try to finish people. You know, I think I just play this game very hard. You know, I play like this, you know, my last time playing. So I think that'll help me, you know, as long as I keep that mentality and keep working on myself, getting better, you know, and trying to help the team, and everything will work out well.
Chris Perkins.
Robert, do you have a preferred position between guard and tackle, and what are the differences for you as far as technique and things along those lines?
Not really. I definitely can play any position that coach or, you know, that O-line coach would need me to play. I'm a versatile guy. I think that will help me out a lot in this draft. So wherever coach need me to play, that's where I'll stick at. So I'm open to play any position. I'm ready to play in any position, anywhere that I can help the team out. You know, I'll definitely do it.
Go ahead, Safid.
Robert, congrats, man. I wanted to ask, you know, I know there's a big-time quarterback you're going to have to protect now here in Miami. I guess what are your thoughts about that, and how much pride do you take in just being an offensive lineman and blocking the other guy?
It's great. I mean, I'm super excited to get on the field with Tua and all the other guys that we already have on the team. You know, it's my job to protect him. That's what I'm going to do every day. You know, come in, I'm going to try to protect him and do my best job that I can do. So, you know, I'm just going, like I said, I'm just going to bring my mentality to the game, bring my mentality to Miami, you know, and hopefully, like, everything will work out, you know. Super excited. Like, I keep saying that, but super excited for the opportunity that the coaching staff and everybody in Miami have given me.
Steve Wan.
Robert, congratulations. What are your thoughts about the level of competition you've been playing against versus what you'll see in the NFL? Do you think it's a big difference, or do you think the level that you play at is underrated?
Definitely underrated. Definitely underrated. But it is what it is. I'm super. It don't matter where we could go right here in this field that I'm trying out, and you know, and whoever I'm going against, we're just gonna try to play. You know, I'm gonna try to do my best, whatever I can do. So it doesn't matter the competition. You know, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to even, you know, get this chance to even play against the really good guys. So I don't even know. It is what it is.
Adam Beasley.
Yeah, I wanted to see your shirt. What do you have on?
Oh, man. Robert Hunt, you know, my sister made this for me. My sister made that for me.
Yeah, talk about how important she is in your life and why you decided to wear the shirt.
She's very important in my life. You know, sometimes when my mom wasn't home when she was working, you know, my older sister, she would take up time, you know, watch over all of us because she's the oldest. So, you know, she played a very important role in my life. So I'm very thankful for her. She's actually over there eavesdropping right now, one of them. But, you know, she played a very important part of my life, and the shirt is awesome. So,
Mike Cunha.
Robert, congratulations. Curious, you seem to have a lot of confidence. Do you see yourself as a guy who can come in and start right away?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I definitely, in my opinion, yeah, definitely in my head, yes, sir, I definitely want to come in and start right away. But I'm not I'm wherever coach need me, however I can do it. You know, I'm just gonna go compete. That's my job, to go and compete. So I'm just excited for the opportunity I get to go and compete and all that work out the way it worked out. You know, I'm not even thinking about it right now. Just going to try to celebrate a little bit, but all let it come down the line. You know.
Joe Shedd.
Hey, Robert, welcome to. I read where one scout said that it seems that you enjoy destroying people. I'm wondering what is the genesis?
Sorry, I couldn't really hear you that well. Sorry.
Where one scout said that it seems you enjoy destroying people.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering what is the source of that for you? What is the fuel for you? What fuels you?
I mean, it's fun. It's fun doing that, and it looks really good, you know. So definitely want to do that. I guess it's just a competitive spirit in me, you know. I picked that up, you know, and I just haven't stopped doing it. So it's just something that I like to do. It's part of the game. You know, you don't get in trouble for destroying people on the football field, so why not do it, you know?
We'll go to Cam Wolf.
Robert, just kind of follow up on that. Just watching you a little bit, you got that. It seems like you got that Mauler style. How would you describe, you know, your mentality in football and what you strive to do when you get on the field?
I mean, that I guess how I came into every game was I came into every game with a bully mentality. So, you know, I wanted to bully anybody that came in front of me, stepped in front of me, and all that kind of stuff. So, whoever I competed against, I was gonna try my hardest to, you know, do my job and help the team out. You know, we want to run the football in Louisiana Lafayette. You know, so that's the mindset that we have, and that's the mindset I've been having for a while now. So,
We'll go to Omar Kelly.
Robert, why did you get off to such a late start in football? What was it going on in your life that just made you not gravitate to the sport early?
I mean, I started playing early, but I did a lot of moving back and forth. You know, at the end of the summer, I started a lot of moving back and forth between my mom's house and dad's house, you know, and from hurricanes, all that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of moving, and, you know, I picked up the sport. I stopped for a little bit, pick it back up, stop. So I've been playing the game for a while, just, you know, just been in and out of it. And, you know, it finally really clicked me a couple years ago, you know, that I had an opportunity that to play this game at the next level. So I just took that opportunity and kind of ran with it.
Back to Cameron Wolf.
Hey, Robert, I want to ask you about Burkefield. It seems like that's like there's not a lot of people that live there. What was it like being in such a small area and then going on to a small school?
I mean, at the time, you know, at the area, you don't really pay attention. So, like, I was just doing my own thing in Burkeville. You know, it's definitely a small town. But, you know, I tried to make fun of it. You know, I went to my friend's house. We rode four-wheelers. We, you know, fish. We do all type of stuff to try to make fun. So this is what we do. We just try to make fun. And the situation that we had, you know, I went to Lafayette, Louisiana. That was way bigger for me. You know, so I had a fun time in Lafayette. You know, then I met really good coaches, had really good teammates, you know, and everything worked out well.
Safid Dean.
I wanted to ask you about your hair, man. I see you dreaded up on top here. What's the inspiration for your hairstyle, man? It seems like it's a really big part of you and who you are.
Nothing really. I just grew my hair out. I mean, I always had hair. Sometimes I hate getting it combed, so I kind of just decided to put the dreads in, and then the dreads start getting longer, and I like the look, so kind of just kept. And I got a receding hairline too, so that's the reason why too. If you're gonna check my hairline out.
Adam Beasley.
How's your health? I know you missed a bunch of games this past year. How's everything going?
It's going well. I mean, I'm 100% healthy right now. You know, I've been doing everything that I've, you know, wanted to do since combine everything. You know, I didn't participate in combine because I wasn't ready at the time. But after that, you know, I've been 100% doing everything. I've been doing like videos, pro days, stuff like that. So I feel good.
Do you think not being in the combine may have hurt you a bit?
I wouldn't say. I mean, it is what it is. This is going to happen anyways. You know, I'm a big believer of God. You know, God puts you in places that He wants you to be, and He definitely put me in for a reason. So I'm just going to take the opportunity and go forward with it. I mean, He don't make mistakes, so this is a blessing to me. So it don't hurt me or help me. You know, this is my opportunity. I'm super grateful for it.
Raekwon.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you're well versed in terms of playing in a hybrid 3-4 scheme at Alabama. But you played so many different spots. Where do you think you best fit in the NFL?
I feel like I fit anywhere. I'm comfortable anywhere from a 5, from a 4, from a 3, and a 0, because we run so many different schemes.
Cameron Wolf.
Hey, Raekwon, congrats, man. Obviously, you joining Tua out here in Miami. What was it like playing with him, and what does it mean to you to, rejoin him out here in Miami?
He's a great quarterback. All 3 years he's been in Alabama, he's been just a big leader for our team, and he did a job. He played a big role for our team, and he made sure he uplifted everybody when time was down, and when games was hard, he kept everybody going.
Steve Wine.
Raekwon, congratulations.
Thank you.
The numbers say that your productivity went down over the course of your career. Do you feel that's true, or is that not an accurate representation?
No, I feel like it ain't true.
Adam Beasley.
You were asked about Tua. I'm sure you're going to get a ton of questions about him going forward. Can you take us back to that national championship game when he came in at halftime, what the mood was like in the locker room, and what happened and the spark he provided?
It was just he gave everybody just an energy. He felt like he gave everybody just hope that. He told everybody the game wasn't open, and we had to just take over and just finish the job.
Safi, go ahead.
Raekwon, what was first of all, congratulations. What was your contact like with Brian Flores and Chris Greer during the draft process, and what were some kind of things that you guys talked about first, as regards to defense and where you can play, things like that?
We would just go over like the schemes, and he asked questions where I feel comfortable at playing, and I told him anywhere they line me up at, I feel like I can play anywhere.
Chris Perkins.
Hey, Raekwon, it's kind of been a very unusual off season with the coronavirus shelter-in-place order. How has this off season been for you? Has it been bizarre? Has it been? How would you describe it?
It's been crazy, but at the same time, it's still a blessing. During that process, you had so many teams that FaceTime you, Zoom you. And check on you, and every day you were talking to like different GMs and different owners.
Omar Kelly.
Raekwon, in terms of why did you choose Alabama, and what did you think you got out of that program in terms of your preparedness for playing the NFL?
The reason I chose Alabama is because From the janitor, from the cook, from the coaching staff, I felt like it was just a great home. It was just a family. It was just like a big bond with everybody. It felt like home.
Joe Shad.
Hey, Raekwon, welcome and congratulations. Can you tell me what you believe to be the key to a player and a team being successful against the run, stopping the run?
I feel like that's why I do a good job. But I feel like some people can't two gap, and I do.
Adam Beasley.
Raycon, what are your goals as a National Football League player?
This first year coming in, working, and try to be the Rookie of the Year.
Cam Wolf.
Hey, Raekwon, how are you spending time in this coronavirus period? Where are you at, and how are you staying active?
I'm right now. I mean, not too many, and I just try to distance myself away from people.
All right, Ruthie.
Raekwon, have you ever had a teammate that has the same name as you?
No, first time ever. So people get calling names, I ain't gonna know who they talking about.
And welcome to Miami, and congratulations. On the telecast, they talked about you requesting all these film clips from all these NFL teams. Tell us why you did that, and when you watched the Dolphin defense, what stuck out for you?
Oh, hold on a second. Brandon, somehow you got muted here. Hold on a second.
I got you. I'm good.
All right, there we go. Go ahead.
I knew that I wanted to be able to grow my game. When your game mentally is something that's gonna, keep you in the league for the longest time. So I was very determined, to get as much film as I could from my agent. I requested my agent just give me as much film as watch it. I would really want to dissect the defense of each NFL team and kind of just get a familiar sense of how teams scheme up different teams and what's like people's main coverages and why they run this versus that, and just take a lot of questions. I took a lot of questions with me, and I don't know, it was a really fun experience. It definitely took a lot of time. It took probably about 8 weeks to finish the whole thing, but it was definitely worth it at the end of the day.
Next, we'll go to Safid Dean.
Brandon, congratulations. I imagine the studying probably paid off, especially when meeting with Brian Flores and Chris Greer. I guess what were some of your conversations like with them in regards to the defense that they play with a safety on the back end and usually a lot of nickel and dime?
Yeah, so their big thing is obviously they liked how versatile I was, how I'm able to kind of move around and not have one specific position, just kind of be very coachable and do whatever I'm told to do at the end of the day. So it was an awesome experience. I just kind of had a very good vibe when I sat down and met with them. It was kind of just like a connection at first sight, especially when I sat down with them and talked with them. So I had a really good feeling about it, honestly, and it just kind of went up from there.
Next up is Joe Shad.
Hey, Brandon, congratulations. I read a few stories that talked about how you've played through injuries in your career, or tried to play through ankle and shoulder injuries. Can you talk about the mindset that went into that?
Yeah, I'm a type of player, obviously, just how competitive I am. I don't like anything to get in my way, to be honest, and kind of firm and stubborn when it comes to injuries. I know they're definitely a part of the game. It's a physical sport, so they're kind of eventually, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is at the end of the day. But I'm gonna give it my all until I can't anymore. So that's how I kind of live, and that's how I've always thought of myself as a person and a player. So being able to go full speed, go 100%, as much as I can, as fast as I can, and as hard as I can was my biggest goal going into it. And I really didn't like injuries to kind of get in the way and determine, the type of player I am, because the injuries don't stop me. Obviously they happen, like I said, but at the end of the day, I think they kind of humble you and they kind of make you really appreciate things, once you get back. And I don't know, I just really just didn't let anything stop me or anything get in my way.
Next, we'll go to Chris Perkins.
Brandon, talk to me about the difference between playing strong safety or down in the box and being the deep safety as far as mentality and you know, I'm thinking as the last line of defense, you have to take a wiser angle when you're the last guy, maybe up in the box, you can be more aggressive. What are the differences in those safety positions and which do you prefer?
Yeah, so being in a box, man, it's nasty. It's nasty down there taking on running backs. If you blitz, you know, one-on-ones with them, you got to take on pullers for counters. You got to take on tight ends. So I've always embraced it kind of. I think I'm pretty aggressive, an aggressive safety. And I love the challenges, to be honest. Obviously, I'm not the biggest dude out there, but, you know, I kind of in my mindset, I'm like, I'm going to get back in this backfield. I'm going to do what I can, you know, to be great and be successful. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is just the vision. It's kind of weird going from the high safety and being able to see everything. And then once you get down in the box, you start playing man coverage, or, you know, when you roll down and be that roll down safety, your vision kind of shrinks. So you kind of have to adjust that and kind of get used to that. But that's definitely probably the biggest difference.
Cam Wolf.
Hey, Brandon, congrats. You talked about your versatility. I know that you played a lot of special teams. You know, you had a couple block punts and returning ability. What is it about special teams that gets you going?
Man, it's really just anytime I touch the field, to be honest. Like, I'm always looking for a chance to be great and kind of prove myself, you know, whether it's on defense or on special teams. Special teams has always been fun to me because you can make plays, you know, you can be nasty and you can do some really fun stuff. Returning, I really enjoyed returning from that standpoint. I love running down on kickoff. I love blocking punts. I just love being on the field at the end of the day.
Safin.
Brandon, how was the shoulder doing? And typically with safeties, the shoulder injuries happen a lot because, you know, you're diving into the the running backs, the tight ends. I guess, how do you kind of see yourself not fearing to do that thing and trusting your shoulder and trusting your body after this?
Yeah, my shoulder feels really good. You know, obviously staying the course, trusting the process, taking it one day at a time. But I mean, it's definitely, after an injury, it's the biggest thing is just getting your confidence back. And I think, you know, once you get your confidence back, you can be the type of player that you want to be. I think over this, you know, over the rehab and everything that I've been able to do, I'm able to do mostly everything now. You know, I've been running for a number of weeks. I've been lifting weights. I was super excited to do push-ups. Push-ups again, I never realized how fun push-ups were. So it's definitely just a steps in day-to-day process at the end of the day. But shoulder's doing really good, and I'm just, you know, enjoying, and like I said, just taking it day by day.
We got a fan question from Travis.
Yeah, hey Brandon, we got Karen here in Glasgow, Scotland wants to know, how do you see yourself fitting into Coach Flores' system, and what do you add to the defense?
Man, I just really see me being as a kind of like a Swiss Army knife, a guy that can come in and do whatever I need to do. Obviously, just me being as versatile as I am. If the coach needs me to play in the box, I'll do it. If he needs me to play high safety, I'll do it. If he needs me to play some reps at corner, I'll do it. Like, you know, the biggest thing to me is just getting on the field and helping the team out at the end of the day.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interviews and the press conferences. If you did, and if you like my show, my perspective, my channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.